So today, I was literally today years old when I learned that dragonflies, everybody knows what dragonflies are. I don't know why I was about to ask you what a dragonfly is.
They're related to Goku.
That's not what I learned, and I don't know if that's true or not. But I learned that they can fly up to 35 miles an hour. Like they're the fastest flying insect. No, that's not the wildest thing. The wildest thing that I learned about them, so I'm a Spyro fan, and his like health meter is like Sparks, right? A dragonfly. My whole life, I've thought that he was a dragonfly because dragons, dragonfly, right? But if you remember when you get health, what you do is you kill things that turn into butterflies, and then Sparks goes and eats them. The reason dragonflies fly or can fly up to 35 miles an hour is because they capture their prey mid-flight. They're carnivores. They don't eat flowers, so literally they attack butterflies and different things and just whoop. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Web Show. I am joined back here with my main man, Topaz, behind me. And you'll notice the setup looks a little bit different today. That is because it's my long weekend again at my day job. Got a lot going on. This man is singing at a wedding tomorrow because he's got a beautiful voice. And all that to say, we decided that this would be the easiest way to just jump back in, especially since last week we tried to record something and audio just didn't work. Cameras weren't rolling. Now I literally have a monitor in front of me right here, and I know what is and isn't rolling. But yeah, Topaz, you want to tell us a little bit about what you got coming up and just kind of how life is going for you?
So I got some health-related good news.
Let's go.
And I'm excited about that. So I definitely changed my eating habits. You got to eat right, people, or you're going to go down quicker than you want to. Amen. But so that's a good thing, getting that good news. And I think you guys know we have 2 kittens. So that's
I don't know if they do know that yet.
I feel like we talked about it.
I don't know.
In one of the episodes. Maybe not. Hey, but we have 2 kittens. So we have our 2 kids and 2 kittens now. And they're sisters, and they're like the sweetest, craziest things in the whole wide world. Nova and Star are their names. So we're excited about them. Let's see. Got the wedding tomorrow. And I mean, things are just going up. So, yeah.
Well, bro, I'm glad you made time for little old us here at the Web Show again, because this is now, I guess, even though we've been back already from Webby Summer, this is kind of officially the first regular episode back. I mean, I'll be the not so regular setup and everything. This is the first episode back. And so glad that you're here. I'm glad to get back into some news. Webby Summer was really fun. I had a really good time just chilling and playing games and doing some fun stuff. And the fun stuff isn't over. I mean, even in the next episode for next week, we've already got something planned that's going to be super cool. But I feel like we've missed a lot of news, a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm pretty excited about jumping into that and kind of, I don't know, going from there. So today, guys, the whole plan is we're going to talk a little bit about Pokemon, because at the time of recording this, we just had a Pokemon Presents. And a lot of people forgot that it was even happening, including the Pokemon Company. And so that was an issue. And then, wait, you weren't ready for that? Neither were they. Anyway, so, and after that, we're going to talk a little bit about Switch 2 rumors. We're getting kind of the same news every single day about that, but it's still probably worth talking about, especially since we're both kind of Switch people, as well as some PS5 rumors, maybe about some different consoles coming up. And of course, we got a little bit, this is a little bit old news. We're a little late to the game, but we got a little bit more information about the Project Q. So looking forward to that. And then if there is time at the end, we will get a chance to talk a little bit about Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, some things that they're doing that are really cool, because finally, my boy Topaz has had his first real experience with Xbox, which I'm a little surprised that it took you so long, especially considering you like green so much.
Yeah.
It's Team Green, and you've been like, nah, I don't like you. Even in a previous episode, you have a song, like a quick song that you sang about how you don't know why you hate Xbox. You just like PlayStation better.
It's because I never played. Well, I played it, but I just never owned an Xbox.
Yeah.
I never had that experience. And that's the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
Just like iPhones. Before I got an iPhone,
yeah,
I hated iPhones. Still love Samsung more, but
See,
I've had the experience with the iPhones now, so it's like okay, I can do that. So once I got my hands on the Game Pass stuff, so it's it's a work in progress.
Gotcha. I love that the camera switched to you right as you were done saying something. So that's great. It's a much more we'll get to this if there's time, but there's a much more, I feel like nuanced, educated opinion on it. Not to say that you weren't educated before, but like, how can you really say if you do or don't like something if you haven't tried it?
Mhm.
So yeah. Well, we're gonna disregard this little dude because I forgot to start it. That's our countdown timer, but I've got one right here. So we're 6 minutes in. Let's go ahead and jump in. So Pokemon Presents. So you're a Pokemon fan, or would you call yourself a Pokemon fan?
Yeah, I keep up with the stuff.
Okay, because I know you're a Digimon guy, but Digimon just didn't make it out as the dynasty of success, and so.
But anything new comes out, I'm on it, like trying to figure it all out. But the games, I just don't like the games that much.
I got Digimon games or Pokemon games? Okay,
Digimon games.
I got you. Well, I don't like Pokemon games that much, so. Well, what I've come to realize, so I got up and I streamed this Pokemon Presents. If you guys want to check that out, you can do all of that over at twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin. The VOD is still there, but anytime that I'm capable of catching one of these live events, Nintendo Directs are the hardest ones because they'll tell you like 5 hours before, basically, and you've already got your day planned. But if at all possible, if there's enough notice, I try to catch these things and live stream them, even though like I was pretty darn sure that I wasn't going to see anything in this Presents that I really liked, and I was right. But okay, so I'm jumping all around. Let's just dive in and go straight through it. I have come to the understanding, though, literally today, like between yesterday and today, that, and I think I've alluded to it some in conversations we've had about Pokemon before, that I'm like a wannabe fan, I don't mean that in like a negative way towards myself.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to be a fan. Like,
you're just waiting for something big, something
I don't think so
blow
anymore.
Your mind.
I would have agreed with you, but you could almost make the argument, well, maybe something that'll blow my mind, but you could almost make the argument that like Scarlet and Violet were big. They were this year's or last year's big game. They were the game. This DLC for it is this big game.
Mm-hmm.
Arceus was like, it was good, but it was everything that I would have wanted nostalgia-wise, because I got to hide in a bush, and instead of the Pokemon jumping out of the bush at me, I jumped out of the bush and said "Hakpak" and got him.
Right.
It was really cool, but it just didn't look that great.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got some opinions on that. But what I've realized is that I think the only reason that the Pokemon games are making it right now is because of nostalgia, honestly. Like, if you looked at Scarlet and Violet, and you took away Pokemon and everything that you know about Pokemon, and this was just like a pocket monster game, like you raise things and you fight them, just a regular turnstile game like that, would you still like it?
Question. Is this rhetorical?
No, you can answer it if you have an answer.
I don't know.
See, that's a fair answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love it if you like ponder that a little bit, and if you know by the end, great. If you don't, if you ever come to a conclusion, I'd love to hear it, because what I decided is that it's not a good game. I don't think I would. Not when there's things like Pow Pow and Temtem, I think is the other one, and other clones of Pokemon that they don't have the following because it's not Pokemon. It's not nostalgia. It's not all this stuff that we've like grown up with, but they're better games. They're better games than that. So I'm going on record right now. Here's my public service announcement. I've decided that I'm not actually a Pokemon fan. And I want it to be good. I want to get there, but I'm not a Pokemon fan. And it's because Pokemon hasn't offered anything good, in my opinion, since we saw like old Game Boy games and everything. Like, all right, so the Game Boy games, I know like if you look back on like Red and Yellow and everything like that, you probably wouldn't think, oh man, that's so incredible. But if you compare it to the things around it, it's pretty on par. And all the way up, we got as announced in the direct, we got Pokemon Stadium, and Stadium 2 is there. If you compare that to other games like the Ocarina of Times and the Mario 64s on the console at that time, it's pretty up to par. Flash forward, and you compare Scarlet and Violet and Arceus to the Tears of the Kingdoms and the Mario Odysseys, it's not even anywhere close.
Mario Odyssey looks so good.
and it,
Tears of the Kingdom, of course, looks good.
of course it does. For what I mean, you can see the limitations of the hardware with Tears, but it drained every last bit of good out of that console. It was really good, and Pokemon doesn't even get close. As a matter of fact, like pretty much every 3D thing they've done since the N64 really isn't that good, and everything what is it? Game Freak is the Pokemon company's developer. Everything that Game Freak makes in 3D, it ain't there. But there's my overarching opinion, so that you guys can be well informed and know that I'm going to come to this as objectively as I can. And what that means, you might say that you might have decided that I've already decided to hate Pokemon, but actually, I think everybody else is being subjective. I think if you're looking at what they're offering and their games with the love that you had for like the Pokemon you grew up with, and I think that is coloring people's opinions of if it's any good. But anyway, I've talked a lot about that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. How do you want to go about this? You want to just jump through the direct, or was there anything in the direct that stood out to you?
Well, first, I have a whole different opinion about Pokemon than you do, which is great, and we've known that from the beginning.
I think that's going to make this a better conversation.
I like it. I like the graphics. I like everything about it. I like the new Pokemon. I like the things that are going on with it. I like new. Which, I mean, I do wish it could be a little better, but I'm a fan of the style. I'm a fan of it all, and I'm a fan of waiting and hoping that it gets better. As far as graphic goes, but I like it. I love it. The point of having a full Pokemon open world game was game changer for the Pokemon world. I know they're still should have had it figured out by now, but they're still trying to figure it out. If they don't even change the way it looks, I'm fine with that, I guess. But I feel like they have a lot of time of getting it to how it's supposed to look. And I don't want to compare it to Zelda or Mario because it's different companies, and I wish they would, but for some reason I'm fine with the way it looks. Now Pokemon Detective Pikachu, on the other hand, is not up to par with the lookings. But I'm fine with Scarlet and Violet. It was game changer with a lot of elements in the game, and I'm excited about the DLCs, and just I think I'm a Pokemon fan, but not a Pokemon battle fan. Yeah.
So like not a traditional Pokemon game fan?
Right.
That's interesting because you could make an argument that the only reason this company is like the largest franchise in the world is because of the games. Like they kind of started it all. You're right. We definitely have, and also I realize that you're right over here, but I realize on the camera it looks better if I actually look at this you on the screen. So it looks like we're actually looking at each other in the camera. So that's why I started doing there. But you're right. We have differences of opinions because I try to be pretty pro-consumer. Mm-hmm. And what I think is, so for example, I'm going to latch on to something you said. You said that they have plenty of time, or they have, they're taking more time to make it what it should be or what it's better. I argue that time should have been before you charge people $70 for a game that's no good, mm-hmm. or $60. I think that was one of the last $60 games. And especially considering a lot of people, since you do a double copy almost every time, where they were looking at really 120 USD to experience the entire Pokemon experience, and so yeah, I've got a hot take on that where I feel like it's not very pro consumer. Yes, you made an argument about how you shouldn't compare it to maybe a Tears of the Kingdom because they're different companies. Yes and no. Nintendo's still the publisher, and Nintendo is one of the largest, they have the largest secondary share of it. So yes, the Pokemon company owns it, but if you look at who owns the next biggest piece, it's Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And Nintendo made Tears of the Kingdom and Mario and all these things. You would think that Nintendo would go through some kind of quality assurance and say, no, we need your game to be at this level before we put it on our system because it makes the Switch look bad. Because what was the first thing everybody was saying? It was I feel like it was a misinformed opinion, but the first thing everybody was saying when Scarlet and Violet failed so bad was, the Switch isn't powerful enough. The Switch can't handle it. It plays so much better on my PC. It's less glitchy. That's a problem in and of itself if the game is less glitchy on a $2,000 graphics card. Like, not even perfect, just less glitchy. And now we've seen things like Tears of the Kingdom, which give it no excuse. There's no excuse a game like that couldn't have been optimized. There's no excuse because it's not like they were even trying to put the game out on multiple systems where they could make an argument like, hey, we made it look really good on Xbox and PlayStation, but it's hard to take that Xbox and PlayStation game and put it on the Switch. They only develop for one console. The only thing they were developing for was the Switch. And it's not even an argument of like, well, the OLED is so much more powerful than the Lite. They all have the same hardware inside of them. The OLED is the launch Switch with an OLED screen, and the Switch Lite is a launch Switch without the secondary daughter board that allows it to dock so that it's smaller. Those are the same thing. So those are my general opinions on that. I think you should figure all that out before you sell garbage to your fan base.
It's a different people like different things, and different people expect different things, and different people want different things. Different people. I think opinions are great, and yours is good. You made some pretty good points.
You're
but
so
it still
diplomatic.
goes back to the person, and there's so many people in this world, and I don't know. I guess it would be good to try to reach all audiences, but I guess they're so comfortable with what's going on now. Oh, and I had a thought.
Okay.
What if with the Nintendo and the Zelda company, what if they're throwing out a whole lot more money than Pokemon with Nintendo?
I'm trying to follow you. So you're saying, what if Nintendo is putting more money into their development than Pokemon Company? Is that what you're saying?
The Nintendo and Zelda combination versus the Nintendo and Pokemon combination. If there's a different scale of money or a different scale of, I don't know. But I just thought about that while we were talking about this.
I definitely think there is. But here's where that argument falls apart. Do you know what the #1 franchise in the world is? It's not
Pokemon.
It's not Disney. Yeah, that's right. The most recognizable mouse in the world is not Mickey. It's Pikachu. The largest franchise in the entire world is Pokemon. So if anything, that's almost an argument against the company, because what you're saying is that Pokemon, you make so much money and you have so much money and your game's still worse than Nintendo's. Like, no, what it is, I understand why the game came out. One, it wasn't ready. It was rushed out. I understand what happened because the Pokemon Company is forcing it out because they need that launch, because everything, like I said, traditionally, it started with the games. So everything is hinging on those games. And those games had to come out because before before the Fuecoco plushies and Sprigatito plushies can come out, before the anime could come out, before new trading cards can come out, before any of the other stuff they make money on could come out, that game had to come out, because the game is what built the foundation for it. Now, I'd think I'd even be okay with seeing a switch, like, no pun intended. I think I'd be okay with seeing like a transition and let the anime lead it. But I don't know, because we see with like certain like comic book type things where the movies get really good or shows, and then they feel like they don't need the source material anymore and they can get away from that, and then it starts getting crazy out here and it's not all that good. Well, in a similar way, the anime uses the game as the source material. And so you don't want to get too far away from those roots, I would think. But for the sake of time, I'm going to roll us forward. Oh, unless you got something, go ahead.
Oh, well, I guess we started talking about.
I'm not passing
comparisons or
Pokemon,
whatever.
just trying to get us off of Scarlet and Violet and everything so we can keep talking about
We
the
can
Direct.
talk about the Direct, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because we'll probably get into some of these topics again. I just realized that, like, I don't want to turn this into the hill to die on, but
20 minutes.
and it's not, and it's not the hill to die on, but it's a good conversation, because I just think it's setting precedents for every game moving forward, or what companies are expected to be able to get away with. But but stepping back out of that, so was there anything in the Direct, as a Pokemon fan, was there anything in that Pokemon Presents, I keep calling it a Direct, that just stood out to you that you felt like was really good, or not really?
So we're gonna definitely go back to Scarlet and Violet, because everything else really wasn't. Well, I guess bringing Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and what's the duck?
No one knows. Quagsley.
Quagsley.
You're
bringing
welcome.
them to Pokemon.
He's the Pokemon fan.
High five me through the camera, my brother.
This isn't gonna work.
Bow.
We're so bad. Go ahead.
Bringing them to Pokemon Go, I'm excited about that because I've been playing Pokemon Go for these 7 years.
I'll give you that.
Been alive, just because I like attempting to grind and attempting to fill up all the dexes.
Mhm.
So having Paldea or the Paldean, is that the word? Yeah, Paldea.
I don't know.
On region specific Pokemon in Pokemon Go is great, and I love it. And man, I just like newness, bro. The new was it Raikou?
I don't know.
The electric dog.
Oh yeah, you're not. I'm
Not
not gonna be able
Raikou.
to.
Raikou is right. Dang it.
I'm not
You
gonna be able to
guys-
follow you well with
I think it
names
is
of
Raikou.
Pokemon. Sure,
Yeah, because Suicune's blue, Raikou, and then Entei.
I'm gonna name him Sparky.
Sparky. His new past paradox form. I love it. It's like a long necked dinosaur with the little clouds.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen
surrounding
that.
his mane or whatever, circling his head, which is not stuck there. It's like, he can wrap it around and make like a cloud. So that probably makes him Water Thunder or something like that. But I'm excited about that. I just like new forms. I just like new Pokemon, and it's like unlimited to what they can do, I believe. And I've been stuck since I've completed the main story of Pokemon. I was going to say Sword, Pokemon Scarlet, that you didn't complete Violet. I've been stuck, and I'm ready to find out more and
Mhm.
as to why.
Were you stuck in the ground or stuck in a wall? Because both happened in that game. I fell to the ground most of the time.
Stuck in. Oh man, that just made me think about. I need to go and finish the chasm. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I just been stuck, wanting to know what's next, wanting to know what's coming, whatever. And we finally got September 13th, which is like, what's that? How many days? You count on my fingers, guys. Math is very hard for me. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 5 days
Let's go.
before my birthday. So I'm excited about that. I'll be playing. Would I be playing that for my birthday? Or I'll be at work? We'll see. But anyway, I'm excited about that, knowing the date. And they waited so long to let us know when this thing is coming out. But I mean, I love the 2 parts. And prices, I guess, could be a little different, as my brother said here.
Mhm.
And I definitely agree with him with that. But it's here. And, well, actually, no, because you get 2 games that are probably, I mean, they're not full games, but it's a lot compacted in those bundles, which is like 30-something bucks, 30-something bucks for 2 parts. And I'm a fan of that. But I don't even know what I was talking about.
Great.
I was talking about Raikou.
And things that stood out to you. So interestingly enough, so some of the anime stuff looked interesting to me from the direct. However, like the one that I thought was the coolest was the new show where they're basically playing the card game instead.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be cool.
But I think is it in the Pokemon world or is it like in our world?
In our world,
because it looks like they're in the Pokemon world, but they play Pokemon cards in the Pokemon
Right.
world, which is kind of not as cool.
it almost looks like a Beyblade or a Yu-Gi-Oh kind of deal.
Yeah, that's what I like about it because I really liked Yu-Gi-Oh.
Mhm.
And I've been waiting to talk about this because I don't think the DLC didn't excite me at all because I don't like Scarlet and Violet. I didn't
Mhm.
think it was all that good. And then I don't care about any other than Pokemon Go. That one's okay, even though I think that it's kind of predatory with how you like have to pay for everything. Like, oh man, you need 10 more slots in
I
your.
can't think of the
for your
amount of money I
Pokemon.
done spent in these 7 years playing Pokemon Go.
You like Pokemon, and Pokemon likes you. That's good
Jesus.
because you're funding them. That's my only thing there. So I have acquired a Pokeball Plus, not the new one though, like the Pokeball Plus. I have acquired one of those. So I've thought
Oh,
about
the,
getting back the round one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought about getting into that and maybe seeing what I can catch, but I really don't think I don't know. I don't think I'm going to. And then the other stuff like Pokemon Unite, I didn't care that much about. It was pay to win.
Yep.
They've made that a little bit better, but
I played it a little bit. I enjoyed it. I think if I start playing it again, I'll probably end up not playing it.
You gotta like
much.
MOBAs. It's a different type of game. Like you gotta like MOBAs.
I did see in that trailer like Eevee was like Gigantamax.
Maybe.
Dynamax, not Giganta. I think Giganta is the different forms, but Dynamax, Eevee was Dynamax. I was like, man, I would like to get to that point in that game to grow big. But
okay. Well, that one, the Masters GX, I think is what it's called. That it's supposed to be really good, but it's very mobile. I know that I should adopt mobile game a little bit better, but I tend to not really play mobile games, and so those didn't like blow me away. Something that did, not the N64 one, but I'm surprised that the thing that in that direct that I'm probably most excited about, which is still, albeit not that excited, but that I'm most excited about is Pokemon Trading Card Game on the Game Boy. And I was going to bring it up to you today because I don't know if you ever got into the Pokemon cards or anything.
Well, I got a bunch of them, but
did you ever play it?
Did never play.
I don't know.
Because I got the cards later.
Got you. Well, see, I've never owned any cards really. I don't know how to play the game, but this seems like a great way to learn to play the game. And from what I understand, you should be able to like the So on a Game Boy,
that'd be a good episode, bro.
On the Game Boy, there's like the connector cable, like the link cable. That link cable is spoofed or emulated through the game system. So if I'm not mistaken, what should be able to happen is like if you played it on your Switch and I played it on my Switch, we would be able to communicate wirelessly as if we were connected, like our actual Game Boys were connected. And so I was going to see if you were interested in it, because if you're interested in it, I might try it because it'll teach you how to play the game. It looks kind of interesting, and I'm hoping that it builds upon it, and it might get me a little more interested in that new show that's coming up about the card game. Other than that, though, I didn't care that much. Pokemon Stadium 2 is on N64 online, and it's supposed to be better than the regular Pokemon Stadium, but we don't have Game Boy Pokemon yet. And so the coolest thing about that game is that you had the connector where you could like take Pokemon that you've been trading on like red or yellow or blue or silver or whatever Pokemon you had, and you could transfer those Pokemon into Stadium. But because there's no Pokemon games except for trading cards, there's no Pokemon games on the Game Boy option yet, you can't do that. Which of all the things you could have announced, like that would have made people so happy, Pokemon in the present is that like say, hey, these classic games are coming to GB or Game Boy Online and Game Boy Advance Online, and then let that functionality cross over into like Pokemon Stadium. That'd been really cool. It wouldn't have cost them anything. It's just an emulator. Just drop the ROMs. That would have been really cool. And then, but that is the only thing that I was like, this is kind of cool. Other than that, I honestly felt like the Presents was kind of mid, because there's also, other than those shows, there was nothing new. I know you're excited about the DLC and stuff like that. We've seen that already. We've seen, we knew that the game's...
Well, you know, they bring stuff out very slowly. We've seen clips, but there was a lot of things that we didn't see in those DLCs, like the new forms, the new fake forms and stuff. Not all of them, but a couple of them. And just watching videos and rumors and all that stuff, and a lot of people love to find out that the rumors are true or not. And I think they answered a lot of question about some rumors, but then again, some other stuff has kind of been, false. But I mean, there's still more to come. I'm not expecting them to reveal everything because I like to be surprised as I'm playing the game. But I think it's gonna be good, man. I mean,
we'll see.
It'll be. I don't want to say it'll be regular, but it'll just be what I want, I guess.
I'm interested to hear what you think after you get it, because you've already got it ordered. I'm not picking it up. I've kind of made a stance that unless something crazy
I'll probably
happens,
feel a whole lot better than losing my sword. Oh no, my shield Pokemon to getting the OLED Switch.
Yeah, because you got an OLED and then lost everything, right? Because you didn't transfer it.
Now I do hate that about
you had some cool stuff. And I actually
Pokemon not having a way of you to get that stuff without having to hook up the switches, transferring your stuff over there. Where's the
cloud?
They
also make you wait, until you already completely beaten the game, tired of it, taking it out of your Switch, and then it's like, hey, now you can transfer this into Pokemon Go or Bank.
Home.
That's it. Is Bank's the old one. That's stupid. Like Pokemon Go usually comes first, and then Pokemon Home. I want that like functionality early on. Now I'm not saying that like I need to be able when I have my starter, I don't need to be able to transfer in my level 100s. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But in almost every Pokemon game you play, you have to get to some town that has like a transfer station anyway.
And I like that.
Let that be the point. Yeah, because then you've explored most of the world.
Mhm.
Most of your Pokemon are sitting probably around like 60 or 70 like level right then anyway. Let me bring in my Charizard then if I want to. That seems fair. Don't make me beat the game, wander around, and then a year later, now you can bring in that Charizard for the game that you don't want to play anymore. And especially for games like, I don't think they have it at all for Arceus, but games that have no like competitive side, because I can see it being useful if you want to get into Scarlet and Violet competitive.
Well, this second DLC is kind of based on a lot of that. So,
Okay.
I was excited to see the second DLC because I was thinking that it was like 100% competitive reasons for it being made. Because when you go into that little thing, you don't know that it's a big, huge dome computer-made world under this thing. I thought it was just like a gym or something. I mean, I guess of course it'll be big enough to match like the DLC. DLC stuff, and I'm saying I'm a lot, but it's okay because I can't think of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but we knew that it was Blueberry Academy though, like since the first time they announced it, that it was gonna be Blueberry Academy,
and them revealing like
just the biomes,
the map and the biomes. Yeah, that was pretty cool to me.
In my live stream, I referred to it as shopping at the zoo.
Shopping at the zoo
because they're all trapped down there. You just literally like, oh, I want this. It's poaching for kids.
It makes me think of the lab where Ash's Pokemon are on the series, where it's like this big huge kind of dome kind of deal thing, where they can run around, play, and have so they brought that to the game, and I think that's pretty cool.
I'm assuming you can catch those Pokemon though, so I don't think they belong to anybody else,
right?
So I don't know. Well, we've we're halfway through, and that's as far as we've gotten, and we still need to touch on real quick Detective Pikachu. Because I definitely got opinions on that. I never played the first one. I don't know if I'll play this one, but I noticed something today as well, and that was that just kind of in preparation for this recording. You notice that we've not seen any gameplay of that game yet?
I mean, we saw a little bit.
No, everything we've seen is like trailer cinematics. I've not seen someone move that character around at all.
Right, and I guess what I did see, seeing Pikachu up in the little room and it's some dirt and stuff around, and so it made me think it's like not really a sword and shield game or a Scarlet and Violet game, but it's a more
I think it's gonna be
kid friendly.
I think it's gonna be a movie.
Oh, it better not be.
I think it's gonna basically be
because
a movie.
we've seen it. We know.
You ever played Telltale games? Like any of the Telltale games?
Telltale Heart. The book story?
No. Like Telltale The Walking Dead or Tales from the Borderlands, or there's a Batman one. I think there's a Wolfenstein one. And basically all you do is you watch a movie, and then occasionally you have to make a decision.
Selections,
yeah. I think that's probably what this game's going to be.
I'm
something
hoping
like
not,
that.
Bro. I'm hoping not.
Do you plan on picking it up?
Depending on if that's the case.
How about the fact that it looks like a 3DS game? Because I think it is a 3DS game. This thing started development before the Switch was announced, and I guess they were just like, we'll just put it on the Switch as it is, because it looks bad. There's no shading. Check out the trailer. Like, there's no shadows. I noticed today that in the backgrounds and everything, at one point they show a Pokemon standing in front of the fountain. The water coming out of the fountain doesn't move. It's just there. Like it would be perfect, on a Wii. Like during that era, people would be like, it would look great. But in 2023, man, like
hopefully they
that's
figure
bad
it out, because everybody don't have a 3DS.
Well, I mean, you're played on Switch, and they're going to charge Switch prices for it, but I don't think that's
deserving.
They'll
make a 3DS version that's going to look better than this version.
It probably. I bet you could run the game on 3DS. I might try that. That'll make a cool video. I might try it. We'll see. Let me know in the comments if you want me to try to play the new Detective Pikachu on a 3DS. Like if I can get it to run after it's done.
They didn't
'Cause
give us like a release date or anything, did they?
I don't think so.
That.
And I've got a hacked 3DS, so I might could make this work. Well, speaking of things not looking good and with no excuses for it, there is a new rumor or some new rumors about new Switch hardware. And it looks like there's some truth to it because do you know anything about that? There are dev kits showing up. And so certain developers and everything are getting their it's nicknamed like Switch 2.
Yeah.
Not by Nintendo, but this is what people are calling it. Because we don't really have another name for it, I don't know what it will be. There is the potential that it is a handheld like only thing. Like potentially, and they're gonna maybe split it off like it kind of like how with the Switch everything came together and it became like handheld and console came together. There's the potential that this is now going to stay that way, and it'll still be dockable and everything that the Switch can do, but it would be like their handheld line. Because if you'll remember, Nintendo's always had like a home console and a handheld. Whether it's a game, like it'd be a Game Boy and a Super Nintendo, and then a Game Boy Color and an N64, and then a Game Boy Advance and a GameCube. Like that's always been like that. And so the idea might be that now those things have come together, and and I'd be okay with this. Less intensive games would play on like a Switch 2 version of something that's still dockable. You can bring that home and dock it to the TV, but for the sake of having a more powerful system, there could also be a home console system that could play more intensive games. So we'd basically be seeing Game Boy games, if you imagine like the Game Boy versus the Nintendo Home Entertainment Center. But Game Boy is now capable of playing things like Breath of the Wild and better. And then home might get us something somewhere closer to what maybe PlayStation or Xbox are kicking out, like in the home console. I'd be okay with that. I think I'd be okay with that. As long as I can still dock my handheld and have the option, I don't have any problem with that. And I don't think they'll do this. This is just Webby talking out loud. But imagine if they do that, and then instead of, like in times past with the NES, they had like the Super Game Boy, and then they had one for the N64, and then you could get like the Game Boy Player for the GameCube that lets you play like Game Boy Advance games on your home console. There's been this trajectory of you can play your handheld game here on this home one a couple times, but cloud streaming works okay-ish on the Switch already. So what if they did get that route, and then they let you, when you are on the go, as long as you have an internet connection, you can stream your Nintendo Home Switch or whatever it is. You can stream that to your handheld. That'd be cool. I don't think Nintendo has the infrastructure to do that because we still can't even talk to each other in a Nintendo party. But we'll see. That's my biggest thing I want to see. Forget the hardware. Revamp the software because they're super behind. But anyway, that's Webby speculation. I'm going to catch you up on what we actually know. We've seen some dev kits come out, or we haven't seen them. We've heard rumor and had it corroborated, saying that there are some dev kits people have in their possession, like that this is a real thing. And there are some talks and stuff about certain specs that are in the new Switch. I don't think it's really worth diving into too much, other than offering some of our predictions and speculations about what the Switch is going to be. Right now, the dev kits have LCD screens, which is interesting because that means we have a Switch OLED, but this new Switch may not have an OLED screen, which would be fine with me too, because LCDs are cheaper. As long as that cost makes its way to me, if you can sell the console to me for $50 cheaper, yeah, I'm down with that. Because LCD, the OLED does look beautiful, but I mean, I didn't upgrade to it, and I still had a plenty fine experience from LCD. And then you compare it to something with a little more power behind it, like my Steam Deck, which also has an LCD screen, and it looks fine. Like it looks good.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Now, if you put it up against your OLED, OLED would be prettier color-wise, but the Steam Deck is running at a slightly higher resolution, slightly 720p
but
on the Switch.
But it's your computer in your hand.
Yeah, Topaz also just had his first experience with a Steam Deck.
It was amazing, guys. I was like, one day.
On that note, though, so do you have anything you want to say, and then we'll talk about Steam Deck real quick? Any speculations about Switch 2 or anything that you're hoping for? Want to make any predictions about it? I know all this news is new to you.
I'm hoping for something very simple that probably wouldn't take much time to do.
I'm not following.
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Wouldn't take time for them to do. I'm hoping that we're able to have a main menu screen, or the main screen.
Yeah.
That there's a theme or some kind of way you can vibe that thing up where it's not just a blank screen behind all your different games. I don't like that.
You want to see a PS4 in your hand where you can change the themes and stuff like that, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or
we'll see.
Or just something, whatever Nintendo can do.
We'll see. They didn't do it on the Switch. They didn't do it on the DS. They didn't do it on the 3DS. They didn't do it on the Wii. They didn't do it on the Wii U.
So hopefully they add that, and it's probably not going to happen, but
probably not.
I'm just having my ears up for that.
I care a lot more about party systems. And, I know I'm interrupting you, but backwards compatibility. What do you think? You want that, or does it matter to you?
Explain that.
Well, are you going to be able to play your Switch games that you currently have on the new system? And does that matter to you?
I mean, it can't. Well, I guess. Are we talking about disc or download it, or just anything?
Well, they don't use discs; they use cartridges. But for it to be truly backwards compatible, I'd have to make the argument that you'd have to be able to put the physical medium in it.
You just tried to get out on me with a disc and a cartridge thing. I'll let that slide.
Well, if it's important, because if they use discs in this next medium, it means that it won't be.
I don't want discs.
I don't either.
I was just explaining.
And I don't want all digital. So, and that almost counts to me as not really backwards or quasi backwards compatible if it's download only, because I'm gonna tell you how that's gonna go down. If you can play your Switch games on Switch 2, but only digitally, that means that I have to pay $70 for Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom again.
Yeah.
I've already paid $70 for Tears of the Kingdom. I don't want to pay $70 again. Now, I'm usually a big fan of backwards compatibility, but I'm starting to think that I don't know if I care that much, because I'm gonna keep my Switch.
Yeah.
But it's a good argument though, because I really like backwards compatibility as a consumer, because what it does, if it offers in more buy-in, because what happens if there's two sides of this coin. What happens is if you present the Switch 2 and then there's only like 2 games on the system, then what I'm going to do, unless I really, really want to play that game, and I'm not that big of like a Mario fan, for example, so there's a new Mario or a new Zelda, I don't think we're going to see either of those launch year, because we just got a new Zelda, and we're getting Mario Wonder on this Switch. So unless it's a new 3D Mario, I don't think we're going to see it. And so without a big release game, what that means is that I and many other people that are like me are just going to wait. They're not going to buy it because there's only 2 games on it. They're going to wait a couple years. I did the same thing with the Switch. I didn't buy my Switch the season or the year that it came out. I actually did a thing where I did some research, and I looked at the PS4, the Xbox One S, and the Switch, and I decided in what order made the most sense to get it. And the Switch, I almost didn't get it all. But I was like, it's fine now. The Switch had already been out. So the Redbox refresh where they fixed the battery, remember when that happened?
Yeah.
That was already out an entire year before I got my Switch. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get that. I think it was a year.
Dude, I think I got my Switch, 4 years later?
Yeah. I mean, and that's a good buy-in for the Switch, because at that point, there were games. But when the Switch launched, there were 6. That was it. And some of them were games like 1-2 Switch. Like, they weren't good games, But, so there's 2 sides of this argument. There's that one where you'll have a higher late adoption, because why would I? Now, but if I can get that and in anticipation for better games, I can still play Tears of the Kingdom, but maybe now I can play it at 1080 in my hand or something, or 4K on the screen, or at a more stable frame rate. I can maybe, expect even better games, but play the games I already have better than I can on the Switch. That's a good sweet spot for me. And that's as a consumer what I want. From a business standpoint, it does kind of make sense to not be backwards compatible, because what that means is that if you get the console, or if you're gifted the console for Christmas or whatnot, there's only 6 games to play. So you know what you're going to do? You're probably going to end up buying all 6 of those games.
Yeah.
So they're selling new games.
That's what I did with PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I bought a lot of PlayStation 5 games.
And you were kind of an early, when you got it, I wanted to be an early adopter of the PS5, because those made sense. Like, those jumps made sense. There were going to be games for the PS5 immediately that would not work on my PS4. But then I like that. I like that PlayStation backpedaled on that. So when we're talking about they did almost this cross compatibility that I thought was really cool. Because so for example, I wanted to play Miles Morales, right? Really good game. The PlayStation 5 was so hard to get. I'm grateful that they released that game on both, and then if you bought it on PS4, you could upgrade it to the PS5 version for free. They released a lot of their first, if it were possible, they released a lot of their first party games cross compatibility. That was a pro consumer move. That was good because so many people were having a hard time getting them, and like the only way to get it was to pay $1,000+ at a scalp price, and that's not cool. And so good move for them. Nintendo, I don't think would do anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I actually don't think it's going to be reverse or backwards compatible. I want it to be, but I don't think it's gonna. I really don't. And I was just curious what you thought. That's fine. I will say though, whether it is or it isn't, I think that we can expect. This is my expectation that we can expect to hear an announcement either by late 2023, like end of this year. Maybe even probably not a release. It would make sense if they wanted to try to sell it this Christmas, but I don't know if they will because it's. I mean, we're kind of late in the game, sort of, for an announcement to get planned for that. But if they start ramping up production, what I think we could see is an announcement, maybe early like February, March of next year, like let it know it's coming, and then. Or we might see an announcement this year and get a release in March because the Switch dropped at a weird time too, and then have bundles for Christmas. So that might be it. We might see an announcement in a few months and a release either middle of 2024 or holiday 2024. I think we'll see a release of new hardware. Don't know a lot about what it is other than possible LCD. Maybe it will have an OLED because these are just dev kits. Dev kits normally have more internal specs. But there also wouldn't be a reason for a dev kit to have an OLED because it's just there for developing the games on, right? The actual one that comes out could be an OLED screen still. We'll see. But that's just our thoughts there. Do you have anything to add to it?
Nah.
Sweet. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about a Switch 2. Is it coming in 2024? Is it real? Did you like the Pokemon Direct? And why is the answer to both of those things no? No, I'm kidding. PS5 rumors. While we're talking about new consoles, there have been some rumors, and this is what we actually tried to talk about in the last episode when nothing recorded. We'll go over this really quick because it's kind of old news at this point.
Yeah.
But obviously, we're getting a Project Q. Project Q, some pictures of it were released and leaked out of a factory. It looks like it's going to be running Android, which is really exciting, Topaz. We talked about this a little bit last time, but I'll let you weigh in because what that means is if it's running on Android, it's going to use the same basically the same PlayStation remote play that my Android phone does. But there's rumor that they're working on getting PlayStation Cloud Gaming to work on Android. If they get it to work on Android, one, that would mean that will work on my Android phone as well. Right. But it means that this device would also have the capability of streaming PlayStation games from the cloud. That means you wouldn't actually have to have a PS5. Right now, you have to have a PS5 to use it. Like it's an accessory. But if you can stream games via like a Game Pass cloud streaming type situation, then you can sell it as a console. Then you can say, hey, do this and buy this and you get, 3 months free of PlayStation Plus Premium. Keep PlayStation Plus Premium as a subscription and you can sell it. Or you can keep playing and stream it. You don't even have to have a PlayStation 5. That's what I hope they do. And last time, and you just jump in with anything that you want to add. And then the last recording that that didn't actually make it, we also talked about price and what we thought that would be. I said in that recording that it'd be killer if this could be $200 or less.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be.
No.
I think that, especially if they don't get this cloud thing working. If you have to have a PS5 stream only thing, I don't want to see a repeat of the PSVR 2 where it's literally the same price as the PS5 that you have to make it work. That's crazy. And now I feel even worse for people who did buy the PSVR 2 because they haven't made any new games for it. So now you spent $500 on a PS5, then $500 more on a PSVR 2 that you can't use because there's no games for it. That's a problem. So even though they're doing some other pro consumer things. So that's my thoughts on that. What do you think it's actually going to cost? What do you think this Project Q is going to cost?
$349.
That's an odd number. So you're thinking 350 basically.
I feel like I've seen it before.
You're thinking 349.99, I bet.
Yeah.
So it's it's 350, $350.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair price. No, I don't think it's a fair price, but I think that's a fair estimate. I think
Right.
that's a good chance. I don't. It better not be $400.
No.
300. I think it's gonna be 300. 350, maybe.
I mean, it looks good. It looks really good. As far as this big screen and the 2 controllers,
Which is also an LCD screen.
yeah,
Just throw that out there. It's not OLED, and you're also not going to be getting 4K HDR streams to it. You're going to be getting 1080p stream to it, which I think at 8 inches in your hand, I think that's fine. Like I don't think you really need this high fidelity thing in a handheld.
there's going to be some kind of mechanic or some kind of difference where they're going to sell some for $249, and then you pay $100 extra for something. That's what I think.
I don't think they'll release it at the same time. They'll have a price, and then what we might see is like a year later they release one that actually plays games on it, and then they'll sell it for $50 more, and they'll drop the price of the first one.
Yeah,
that's what I think will happen if they do that. It does have a gimmick though. The only thing that's potentially making it worth a little bit is I'm expecting all the quirks of a DualSense controller, like all like the adaptive triggers and everything like that, and the way it feels, and like it has to be touchscreen because you don't have the touchpad anymore. But all this stuff I'm expecting to also be present in the Project Q. Like that is my thought anyway. It should be. Right now, I don't think that stuff is present right now. If I were to connect that same controller to my phone and then stream it to my phone, I don't think I get that. I think it just works as a regular controller. So that means there's going to be an update or something, but that better work. That's the only reason I could see it, being worth a little bit more. Those things better happen.
Did we talk about Rumble?
Like an HD type Rumble type situation? Sure. Well, if it's got all the features of the DualSense, that has to be there. Surely it has some form of Rumble. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I guess it's going to be some kind of secure kind of thing, because you don't want the screen to be like rumbling like crazy when the controllers are. I guess
if you think about the way the controllers are built right now, the rumble motors are in the grip anyway, and so you'd feel it in your palm. I don't think it would mess with the screen much at all, and it doesn't seem to affect the Switch. And its rumble motors are like right on it,
right,
and it doesn't affect like the Steam Deck and those it's a mild rumble motor, but that's like right on it too. I don't think it'll really matter too much. I don't think it's going to be a very intense rumble regardless, because if you've felt the rumble on these, they're not that intense. If you felt the rumble on these, they're not all that intense either. So,
I'm ready to hold one of these things in my hands.
An actual like Project Q.
Yeah.
So you're getting it?
Not right off the bat, but
if it's $200, what do you think? If it's $200, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, I'll get it. It's $200,
but if it's $350,
I'll wait a little bit.
I'm gonna get the thing on sale.
Yeah.
From a shady guy in an alley,
and then I'll just come to your house and play it.
Yeah. Why? You have a PS5. I mean, you can come over, sure.
Just
but
get the experience.
Oh, I see.
Coming over.
I like that. So that's my thoughts there. PS5 rumors are some potential rumors for like a PS5 Pro, which I don't think is happening, because what's it going to be, 8K? And right now, like, there's no 8K TVs. The hardware, there's no optimized games. The hardware is already past what people own. Like, the PlayStation currently, the PS5 can do more than what the TVs that people own already, because they do 4K 120. Nobody's got a 4K 120 TV or monitor. And if you do, like, I have a 4K 144 27-inch monitor in front of me.
It's a beautiful monitor too, my brother.
It was $800 for that. People, if you look at the TVs, like, we're talking, 4-digit nut prices to get that in a TV. And my buddy Phobic, he did spend a just stupid amount of money. We love you if you're listening, but just a stupid amount of money on his TVs, because he always wants the biggest and the best. And you have to really watch the marketing on that too, because he bought a TV that is 4K 120, right?
Ooh.
It said it on the box. It was a lie.
Oh, gosh.
It's not entirely a lie. It does do 120 and it does do 4K. It doesn't do them at the same time. So he can either do 4K 60 or he can do 1440 120. But he can't even use the full functionality of his Xbox or his PS5 because the TV doesn't support it. And I'm telling you, he got a good deal because he did like a Black Friday thing, and he still paid a good bit for that TV. So how that to say,
how big was the TV?
It is, I can't remember if it's 50 or 60 inch.
Okay.
It's pretty big, but Samsung. So anyway, all that to say, we're just not there. The technology hasn't caught up.
Yeah.
So I don't see that. PS5 Slim, yeah. There's almost always a mid-season refresh with PlayStation. They did it with the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
They did it with the PS2. They did
It's
it twice with the
gonna
PS3.
happen.
They did it with the PS4 because there's a PS4 Slim, and they did a PS4 Pro. But the PS4 is the only time we've ever seen a Pro. And it's honestly the only time it's made sense because 4K was becoming the standard, and the PS4 regular couldn't do that.
Mhm.
So that made sense. But now I just don't think it makes sense to do that unless, because Sony makes PlayStation.
Mhm.
You know what else Sony makes? TVs.
TV.
Unless Sony is looking to do a push for like to push their 8K TVs, well, they can be like, hey, this is the 8K TV you need that we're also selling for our 8K PS5 Pro. But I don't know. I just don't think the buy-in would be there. PS5 Slim makes complete sense, and hopefully to make things a little bit cheaper. You have anything to add to PlayStation? I know we're going kind of quick, but
No, I'm excited to see the future and what it's coming to. I want to see the Slim and see how that's going to look. You know, because we're 99 point such and such % sure that there's going to be
I think
something
I think it's going to look like a PS4.
Like
not
like
not like that weird rhombus shape, but I think it's going to be like that, about that size, like
Yeah,
the size of a
yeah.
PS4, and it won't have a disc drive.
but the shape of the 5,
Ye-
but just smaller.
I actually don't.
compact.
I actually don't think so. I don't think they're going to get. You know how the 5 has like the wings and everything and the plates.
Yeah.
I think So personally, I think that the PS5 Slim, if it releases, won't have removable plates. It's going to be what it is, all one unit.
Yeah.
So that they can control fan and make costs cheaper.
Yeah.
It's going to be a slightly smaller heatsink, slightly smaller internals, or more sourceable
Mhm.
internals, so it can be cheaper. They won't sell it to us for cheaper, but it'll be cheaper for them to make, easier
Yeah.
for them to manufacture. And then in addition to that, it's not going, as a cost saving measure, it's not going to have an optical drive, so you can't put discs in it,
Mhm.
which we already see that with the PS5 digital edition. But what rumors are suggesting and hoping is that they will also sell, probably for like $50, $60 additionally, a external hard drive or optical drive that you can buy with it and plug in to run your discs through that. And hopefully, if Sony is really a power player, they'll allow you to use that drive with the PS5 digital that already exists too, because you couldn't do that with the Xbox Series S because there's not a fast enough USB on it. It's got a USB 3.0 on it, but it doesn't have any USB-Cs. But if you remember your PS5 and mine, it has a USB-C on the front and on the back. So it actually does have a port that's fast enough to be able to do that. And at this point, discs are just there to download your games anyway.
There's a USB-C on the back.
I'm pretty sure.
Boy, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure there's one on the back and one on the front. And then there's a USB Type A standard on the front, and then either one or two, if I'm not mistaken, either one or two USB Type A's on the back.
Well, that comes in handy.
Be helpful. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, all that. Check me on that. Okay, I'm going to look whenever this is all done. I'm going to look because I don't want to pull up my PS5 right now with us only having a couple minutes left. But it is important to me because I'm not an Xbox fanboy, but you know how I was talking about like pro-consumerism and reverse compatibility and all that good stuff? I do think Xbox, even though they're not putting out real games, they're doing that better than anybody else in the game right now. I watched a video this week, and then I want to hear your experience about Xbox, but this is so cool. Have you ever heard of LAN parties? LAN parties got really popular with a game called Halo. You've probably heard of Halo.
Yeah.
And it was on the original Xbox, and literally you would take like Ethernet cables and plug them into the back of because there wasn't like internet really.
Mhm.
You'd plug them into the back of the system, and then either up to 4 or 8, I think, people could plug into a network switch, and they would play multiplayer Halo together without having to split screen. Kind of the same way we do online today, just without the online part.
Yeah.
And so it was like a phenomenon. You would see LAN parties pop up because it's LAN cable, and people would like have a bunch of like CRTVs lined up and their Xboxes, and they're all playing Halo together. Or competitively, you'd see that, or with GameCube, and everything's just lined up. This is the coolest thing, Topaz. So all the way up to the Xbox Series X that is on my desk right here, it has full reverse compatibility with most games. It plays everything the Xbox One would play. The Xbox One could play like 800 or something. I'm making that number up, but 800 something like Xbox 360 games, and it could play like 400 something original Xbox games. So this has that same capability because it can do everything the Xbox One could do. The Xbox 360, the one on the shelf behind me, could play a very large number of Xbox original games, right? What that means, and they all have they all in the Xbox 360 emulation, they all supported LAN. So what would happen is if you were the guy in the friend group that upgraded to an Xbox 360 in the past, you could bring your Xbox 360 to the LAN party and just substitute it as a regular Xbox and still play Halo same way, even though you're playing on newer hardware. The Xbox One emulated it, but kept LAN support as a feature of that. So I watched a video of a guy set up a Switch playing like a jet. I forget what it was called, but like an old Xbox One like jet racing game that supported LAN. And he had an Xbox original, an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, and an Xbox Series S. The first three were playing it off of a disc, and the fourth one was playing it emulated because it doesn't have a disc. It was the Xbox Series S. All connected via LAN, all playing the same game together over LAN. That is incredible reverse compatibility. 20 years between the newest one and the oldest one, and they can play the same game together.
That's cool.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So all that to say that I'm super, super pro-consumer, or I think it's super pro-consumer. I think they're doing great. Xbox is changing the game. They're pro-consumer in that they'll let you play your games anywhere you want, which is really cool. And despite, the acquisition and Sony being so upset about, them keeping games from them or keeping Call of Duty potentially, Sony's the one that does that and goes out and makes deals and is like, hey, we're going to pay you this money, just don't put it on Xbox. That got uncovered. And Xbox is still, even with all that and everything, Xbox just announced, or PlayStation just announced an Xbox game that's coming to PlayStation earlier this week.
Which one?
I had to look at the tweet to tell you for sure. But it's not like an Xbox game like something that's like super crazy. It's just one that an Xbox studio made. So anyway, all that to say, I'm a big fan. You've never really had Xbox. You still don't have an Xbox.
Still.
You have a PC,
an
Xbox Game Pass PC.
Thanks to you.
And I don't know. We haven't talked too much about it other than, me talking about you setting it up and some little help there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put you on the spot now. I'm going to put the camera on you because I would like for you, if you don't mind, to just tell me and everybody in 2023 what you think about Xbox Game Pass and this experience and what it's like in the Xbox ecosystem on honestly an old computer. Like your experience would even be better on one of these,
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be quiet. Tell me what you think about Xbox.
I mean, I've played like friends Xboxes in the past, and they've always looked really good. And I don't think Xbox have a problem with like graphics or anything like that. But they've always looked good. Like whenever I had the first opportunity to play Halo, I was like, man, this is cool. But my experience now having the PC and having Game Pass, it blows my mind that you're able to, have that and get games that just come out and kind of play those games
on day one. And you have been for like 3+ years now, maybe more than that. That when Xbox Game Pass came out, that was a part of the selling point. Like that's not even something new they've added. The whole time Game Pass has existed, day and date.
Yeah.
Xbox exclusives. When Halo Infinite came out, I played it day one for free on Game Pass. Same for Halo 5 and Gears 5. Played it day one. It's really cool. But I'm sorry, keep going.
Man, it's just cool, and I'm kind of excited to get in this experience, getting it started. I'm pretty sure I'll probably, just because I like big TVs and playing games on big screens, I'll probably eventually end up getting a PlayStation. Don't know what. I mean, not that.
An Xbox.
See, I love PlayStation, guys. It's always on my mind. End up getting an Xbox in the future sometime, just to get used to those controllers, which is what Switch kind of deal.
Well, ABXY is different. It's its own layout. That's a Series S or X controller.
Bow, 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 bow. See, I'm already used to it. But no, I've enjoyed kind of starting, and I finally got Sea of Thieves downloaded.
I'm looking forward to playing Sea of Thieves.
Haven't played it yet.
It's gonna run like doo-doo because you're running on like a GTX 970, and you downloaded the 2023 edition, right?
Yeah.
That game ain't made to play on that.
Well,
but
I don't know which edition I downloaded, but whatever edition Game Pass had on there.
They have both, but the one that they present to you is the newest one, so it's probably 2023 edition.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it's gonna play well, and I've shared that with you. But the cool thing is, if you end up doing Game Pass Cloud. I'll show you whenever we're done with this, like on mine, which I kind of showed you over screen capture yesterday. It's not on my computer. I don't have that game installed, and it looked just well. I'll show you that for the sake of seeing it because you saw it in 720 over stream. I'll show you what it looks like, but it's the game just like that.
I just had another thought. Another game. I started Power Washing Simulator.
Isn't it good? It's so good.
This morning, and I was power washing the van that you start in your career. And I was like, man, this is a lot of good stuff. And I was just stuck on this game, and I ended up, getting past that level and going to the next level, which is like the yard. Where it's like the pool in the middle of brick surrounding the fence and the lawnmower and all that stuff. I'm like, man, this game there's so much to it, and it does an absolutely great job with kind of teaching you or showing you the different levels or the different attachments, different sprays, and I'm just like, man, I'm at work pressure washing just how I messed up my thumb, but it's not messed up anymore. I was pressure washing. Now I can pressure wash in safety of my own home. But playing it felt just like I was really doing it and spending that time. And I know we don't have this time to talk about a simulator game. But I had an amazing experience, and I couldn't have done that experience without the Game Pass or the Xbox experience. So
did you play it on you played a keyboard and mouse, or did you use a controller?
Keyboard and mouse.
It's great with a keyboard and mouse. But so this is something else that might blow your mind. You know how when you want to play like PlayStation streaming on your phone, you have to connect a DualSense controller? Xbox doesn't do that to you. So you don't own an Xbox controller currently.
Right.
But if you want to play any of those Xbox Game Pass games on your PC with a controller, use your PlayStation one. They don't care. You can use it. That's awesome. Any XSplit controller. You could grab my 360 controller and it would work. You could use a Nintendo Switch controller and it would work. Isn't that crazy?
That was my
that was your attempt.
My Armstrong ability. Who is it? Stretch Armstrong.
Mr. Fantastic.
I think that's his name. Stretch Armstrong.
Sure.
Which is not his name. It's like his whatever name. But anyway, yeah, that was my attempt to stretch my arm out.
Well, I'm excited to play more Xbox games with you, and obviously Xbox isn't like what made Power Washing Simulator so good necessarily.
What do we do Bread and Fred on?
Steam.
Oh, okay.
But which I'm excited for you there too, because you've never really had a Steam experience, and Steam is pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, and there's more. Like there's so much you can do with PC. So I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for trying that out. But I'm really excited about testing out some more Game Pass, game or Xbox type stuff with you. I think you'll enjoy it. And
I do too, bro.
Yep.
Thank you for getting me on this level.
Absolutely. Well, man, I think that's. Do you have anything you'd like to add at the end here?
I'm excited about Pokemon.
And I'm not. All right. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I know we ran a little bit longer than normal, but it was pretty good conversations. Yeah. Definitely a lot of stuff happening in gaming news, and we won't be quite so behind the next time, so hopefully we'll have a little bit more time to dive in and not have to rush through some of the topics. If you ever would like to tell me what you think or be a part of the conversation, the easiest way to get in touch with me is to @ me on Twitter @ WebbyPumpkin, or X now, Elon. Or you can find me every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over on the channel twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin. We play an assortment of games, have a really good time over there, but I'm also hyper chatty. Like I'm always paying attention to that chat. And so if you wanna get involved there and ask me any questions, tell me what you thought about the show or anything like that, come on in. I'd love to have a conversation with you about pretty much whatever you want to talk about. You can also find us over on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/WebbyPumpkin. And we've been, obviously, this channel, this video podcast is there, but I've been live streaming there as well. And I'm really looking at, now that things are winding down a little bit in my IRL workload, let's be real, actually, they're not. But I'm really hoping to try to get some more like talking head and different video contents and shorts out on there. So I'm going to be sharing some of my streaming experiences over there as well. We'll invite you to come hang out, and if you do drop by any of that, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because that really helps out the channel a lot, and drop some comments, let us know what you thought. If you can't think of anything that you'd like to say, comment your favorite emoji, because it helps with the algorithm, it helps with the engagement. You guys have a fantastic day, and I cannot wait to see you in the next episode.
Webs out.
Webs out.